Shabbat Shalom, my friends. We begin with prayers for all of you who are suffering, grieving the loss of loved ones, fearing who might be next, trapped in quarantine or isolation, hammered by severe economic distress, lonely beyond words. We embrace you with our love and our concern. This community is and will remain strong. So special greetings as well to those who are joining us for the very first time. We also send a special shout out today to Don and Norma in Maryland. We love you guys. And speaking of love, Brucha Haba to Aviv Dudai, my newest cousin, just born in Israel. Hi, Aviv. Please know that we have been conducting this virtual Facebook and YouTube conversation about the weekly Torah portion for about 4 years. As always, I welcome your emails, comments, suggestions, questions. Your participation makes this conversation come alive. You breathe life into it. Last week, when I quoted Hannah Arendt's reflection that being in the presence of lying on the part of political leaders leads to a situation in which nobody believes anything anymore, and thus can pave the way for totalitarianism, I received a flood of thoughtful comments that were most often marked by your pain, your sorrow, and your profound concern. Speaking of truth, Rabbi Gordon Tucker quoted an essay recently by Arnold Ehrlich in which Ehrlich referenced an essay by Gotthold Lessing. Hold on to that complicated chain of custody. We'll get to it. But this is what Lessing wrote. Were I to have stood in the presence of God, whose right hand was holding truth and whose left hand was holding the search for truth, and I were to be given the choice of one or the other, I would choose the search for truth. Ehrlich goes on. It seems to me that one who arrives at truth is now at rest from all striving, having already arrived at the desired destination, while one who works towards something of supreme value, for that person, the striving itself is a greater good than the reward yielded. The striving itself is a greater good than the reward yielded. Well, we have two combined Sedras, the Shabbat Ahare Mot and Kedoshim, beginning with Leviticus 16:1. My friends, we could happily spend an entire year exploring just this one section of Leviticus, which is collectively referred to as the Holiness Code, the Holiness Code. There is unparalleled ethical richness on every page, a clearly articulated pathway toward living a godly life. The core of Yom Kippur observance is the rationale for avoiding the consumption of blood, a reiteration of the Ten Commandments in a different form, and top it off, the Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself, all of that this week. In the presence of such kaleidoscopic diversity, I often take refuge in a wonderful question frequently asked in the Talmud. Ma hatzad hashaveh shebeinehem. What holds all of this together? What does all of this have in common? Question. How am I supposed to live? Okay, well look, this is Leviticus. So, is sacrifice the core concern here? No, not really. Oh, what about sexual mores? Partially, but only partially. Civil law, family law, criminal law, agriculture, calendar, all of the above can be found in the core, but none of the above is the core. What holds all of this together? Truth, I really am not certain. This is the Holiness Code. But I don't even know how to clearly and simply explain what holiness is. Recently, I tried to make a list of what is referred to in the Bible as kadosh, but that list just didn't help me very much. God is holy. The Israelites are holy. The prophets are holy. The Sabbath is holy. The festivals are holy. Sacrifices are holy. The heavens are holy. The temple is holy. Jerusalem is holy. And of course, the Torah is holy. And this list doesn't exhaust all of the possibilities. What does the Torah really want from me? What holiness is not a mere parlor game question. At the beginning of Ahare Mot, we are reminded that two of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, apparently misunderstood what their relationship to holiness was meant to be, and God, in fierce anger, incinerated them. And the golden calf didn't end well for the Israelites. The rebellion of Korach and the constant whining of the people for more reliable food and water in the desert resulted in other clear examples of the divine displeasure. God demands that we pursue holiness. The penalty for failure is brutally clear, but getting to the details of what holiness means is no easy task. I get love your neighbor. Okay, I get it. A noble demand. But that glorious commandment doesn't even tell me who my neighbor is and what loving them could possibly mean. Ma hatzad hashaveh shebenehem. What holds all of this together? I have some thoughts, but I don't claim to possess certainty. What follows, these are my words, not scripture. Here. Don't live like everybody else seems to live. That's it. I have to admit, a pretty humble statement about what all the Torah is attempting to achieve. Don't live like everyone else usually seems to live. Humble, but truthfully, it kind of works for me. You see people acting or speaking abusively, don't live like them. That's holy. You see people acting in utter disregard for the environment, don't live like them. That's holy. You see people greedily feeding at the trough, take advantage of new government programs designed to ease the horrible economic challenges facing the desperately needy in our country right now. Don't live like them. That's holy. You see people acting in utter disregard for the health concerns of others. Don't live like them. That's holy. Most people know that there are many today who are lonely, isolated, anxious. They know, but they don't bother reaching out. Don't live like them. That's holy. There are people who bear grudges forever, who have never sampled what it might be like to forgive others. Don't live like them. That's holy. There are those who treat truth like a base, raw material to be shaped in any way that suits their fancy and their cravings. Don't live like them. That's holy. There are people who shroud their prejudices and fears and anger in the garments of religion. Don't live like them. That's holy. I think that the Holiness Code is designed to make us aware of all the ugliness and insensitivity and lack of compassion and endless greed in the world around us that we must come to reject. Reach higher. Reject the ordinary and the commonplace, what everyone else is doing. Call living like that being holy, like God is holy. Call that loving your neighbor. Call that caring for the widow, the stranger, the orphan. Observe Yom Kippur. Keep Shabbat. Watch what we eat. Build sacred communities. Keep them all as tangible reminders of how we are expected to live better, do better, be better. Oh, wow, there is so much in our text. And we are far too accustomed to seeing each mitzvah, each exhortation, each plea as somehow separate and apart. But what if they are not just scattered fragments? What if we can bring them together to teach ourselves that we can do better, that we can touch holiness, that we can build a world in which God can dwell? And what if we really believe that striving for such a world can be very fulfilling, even if we never quite get there ever? Does any of this make any sense to you? Share your thoughts with me. And let's plan to see each other next week. Shabbat Shalom. Be holy. Be safe. And seek truth. Have a great week.